Hello and welcome. Today, we're retaking a deep dive into one of the most defining periods in modern history, England's journey through the Second World War. From the moment war was declared to the final, triumphant celebrations, this was a nation tested like never before. It all began on September 1st, 1939. Nazi Germany invaded Poland, and 2 days later, Britain and France declared war. As part of the United Kingdom, England immediately began to mobilize its people and resources, but the initial months were strangely quiet on the Western Front, a period famously known as the Phony War. It was a calm before a storm that would change the world forever. The storm broke in May 1940. Germany's Blitzkrieg tore through Western Europe with terrifying speed, and France, a cornerstone of Allied power, crumbled within weeks. The British Expeditionary Force, along with French and other Allied soldiers, was trapped on the beaches of Dunkirk. What followed was a miracle of resilience and civilian courage. Operation Dynamo, the evacuation of Dunkirk, saw over 330,000 troops rescued by a flotilla of naval ships and countless small civilian boats. But with France's surrender, Britain stood alone. It was in this darkest hour that a new leader stepped forward. Winston Churchill became Prime Minister, his powerful speeches igniting a spirit of defiance across the nation. With France defeated, Hitler set his sights on Britain. His plan was Operation Sea Lion, an amphibious invasion. But first, he had to control the skies. From July to October 1940, the Battle of Britain raged. The German Luftwaffe launched massive air raids, determined to crush the Royal Air Force. In their Hurricanes and Spitfires, the pilots of the RAF, famously dubbed the Few by Churchill, fought with incredible bravery. Against the odds, they defended their homeland, handing Nazi Germany its first major defeat and forcing Hitler to indefinitely postpone the invasion. Having failed to gain air superiority, Germany's strategy shifted to terror. The Blitz began. From late 1940 into 1941, German bombers relentlessly targeted Britain's cities. London, Coventry, Birmingham, and Liverpool became battlegrounds. For 57 consecutive nights, Londoners endured a terrifying onslaught. Civilians sought refuge in the deep tunnels of the underground stations. Thousands lost their lives, and entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble. Yet, the bombs failed to break the spirit of the people. Morale, though tested, remained strong. While bombs fell on the cities, another critical battle was being fought on the high seas. The Battle of the Atlantic was a fight for survival. German U-boats, operating in deadly wolf packs, prowled the shipping lanes, trying to starve Britain into submission by cutting off its vital supplies from across the empire in America. The lifeline depended on convoys of merchant ships, protected by the Royal Navy. It was a brutal, drawn-out conflict, where technology played a key role. Advances in radar and sonar, combined with the incredible code-breaking achievements at Bletchley Park, where the German Enigma code was cracked, ultimately helped the Allies gain the upper hand. Meanwhile, British forces were engaged in other theaters, fighting a tough campaign in the deserts of North Africa against Rommel's Afrika Korps, and battling for control of the Mediterranean. The year 1942 marked a significant turning point. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, the United States entered the war, forming the Grand Alliance with Britain and the Soviet Union. This powerful coalition began to shift the balance of power. British forces, under the command of Field Marshal Bernard Montgomery, achieved a decisive victory at El Amini in North Africa. From there, British troops participated in the invasion of Italy, fighting their way up the Italian peninsula. All the while, the strategic bombing campaign against Germany intensified, crippling its industrial capacity and war machine. Technological innovations in aircraft, intelligence gathering, and weaponry gave the Allies a crucial edge. The culmination of Allied planning and power came on June 6, 1944. D-Day. Southern England had become a massive staging area for Operation Overlord, the largest amphibious invasion in history. In the early hours of that fateful day, Allied forces stormed the beaches of Normandy. British troops landed on sword and gold beaches, fighting alongside their American and Canadian allies. This monumental operation established a foothold in France and marked the beginning of the end for the Nazi regime in Western Europe. From the beachheads of Normandy, the Allies began the slow, arduous push across Europe. British forces fought through France, Belgium, and the Netherlands, liberating towns and cities that had been under occupation for years. By the spring of 1945, they had crossed the Rhine and were advancing deep into Germany itself. Finally, on May 8, 1945, Germany surrendered. Vida Victoria in Europe, they sparked jubilant celebrations across Britain. The streets of London, particularly Trafalgar Square and outside Buckingham Palace, were filled with cheering crowds, celebrating the end of nearly 6 years of war in Europe. Life on the home front in England was completely transformed by the war. To manage scarce resources, the government implemented strict rationing for everything from food and clothing to fuel. The entire population was mobilized for the war effort. Women took on jobs that had previously been reserved for men, working in factories, producing munitions and aircraft, joining the Women's Land Army to work on farms, and serving in auxiliary services. To protect them from the bombing, millions of children were evacuated from the cities to the relative safety of the countryside. Throughout it all, government propaganda and the BBC radio played a vital role in maintaining morale, unifying the nation with a sense of shared purpose and resilience. England emerged from the war victorious, but scarred. Its cities were heavily damaged, its economy was drained, and the nation was deeply in debt. The war acted as a catalyst for a profound social change. The shared experience and sacrifice created a demand for a better, fairer society, which led to the creation of the National Health Service in 1948. The conflict also accelerated the decline of the British Empire, as the post-war world order shifted dramatically. The legacy of the war is complex, a story of immense loss and destruction, but also of incredible courage, unity, and a victory that secured the freedom of a continent. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this journey through history interesting, please give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories from the past. See you next time.